I really find the singing bowl to be such a soothing meditative sound. To make something even more useful out of it, I decided to turn it into a simpler instrument. I'll begin by nicely cropping the recording. To get my loop points super tight, I'll turn off the grid so that I can edit without being constrained. You'll want to zoom in as closely as possible to make sure that your loop points are lining up correctly. Next, right-click and choose Crop Sample. This will non-destructively separate the portion I want to use by creating a new audio clip that will be stored in my Session Sample folder. I'll drag and drop this new clip into a simpler device and adjust the start and end markers. I'll just trigger a few notes to make certain it sustains correctly. I've already recorded in several MIDI notes to create a short sequence. Let me turn off the audio effects to demonstrate the way the original clip sounds. I've added a bit of LFO to control the low-pass filter's cutoff. This gives the singing bowl a nice shimmering effect. To recreate this on your own, turn on the LFO and turn up the LFO amount on the filter. Adjust the cutoff frequency to taste to add more or less of the vibrato effect. I've also instantiated a MIDI chord device which will turn my single notes into chords based on the amount set in each of the shift parameters. For this, I simply added and subtracted 7 and 12 semitones. This adds a fifth and an octave above and below the original notes. I'll turn that off for a minute and investigate the arpeggiator I've also added. I can determine how the arpeggiator re-triggers by selecting one of these radio buttons. I'll use Beats. Beats will re-trigger the pattern based on the amount of set notes or bars. As I move the dial around, you can hear how it changes the overall pattern. To make this pattern seem more asymmetric, I'll set it to 7/8. I often automate the re-trigger parameter to different note values over time to keep the pattern moving, shifting, and evolving. This helps keep my music from sounding too loop-based. I'll turn back on the chord device. By placing this device before the ARP, the MIDI information passes serially, creating a chord, and then feeds the information to the ARP. It's like holding down a chord on a keyboard with the ARP turned on. It adds some lovely melodic movement to the progression. To add a bit of delay and wider dimension, I'll turn back on an instance of Soundtoys Echo Boy. I've got it set up for some dual delay goodness. If I group these devices together into an instrument rack, I can easily save this as a preset that can be used later in any session. Grouping enables me to map out all the device controls to macros for greater control. I can also collapse a group to hide all devices. I'll rename my instrument to something more meaningful and then hit the Save Preset button to save it to my user library. It's a good idea to give it a unique name so that you'll remember what it is later when you need to search for it. When re-importing into this or any other session, your device rack will pop right in with all the settings intact. If you make changes after saving, however, be sure to save again, as these will not be automatically updated. Up next, stereo recording.